to give folks a couple of seconds to see if they'll join, to kick in. Uh, Looking to celebrate a beautiful 5-year anniversary of landing in SoCal. Gonna inspire a few folks with some of the things that I've used in the last 5 years, 6 years to get me here. Wait a couple of minutes as I go through some of these. But appreciate everybody who's eventually going to hear this or eventually going to join. You've been a major part of my life, and I hope that everybody can take away. There's pretty much nothing that you can't do. One, by focusing, but also two, by pulling in a tribe that can support you. It's been a journey and a half, and I appreciate everyone. I want to kick this off with some of the baseline things that I did in order for me to focus. 5 or so years ago, 6 years ago, I was inspired to move from the East Coast to the West Coast. In doing so, it was a little tough, 2019, to execute in 2020. But I moved forward, made the plans against the winds. One of the things that I did was I wanted to make sure that I kept myself inspired. So when I came out here in April 2019, this is a picture of Long Beach, sunset, just before we had dinner, a couple of days before we were heading back home. We were here visiting colleges for my oldest daughter, and I saw the sunset yet again after 25 plus years of visiting California. And I just said, we've got to move. I used this as an inspirational background on my work computer, my personal computers, laptops, for a little over a year to make sure that I stayed focused. And I had another background, and I used that on my main screen. Most of this has been a life journey in 5 years that I've been here in California. Yesterday was the anniversary when I landed. And as I posted in the past, no regrets. I appreciate every experience that I've had out here for the last 5 years. I have pushed myself to limits. I have motivated folks in different ways, which have then in turn motivated me because of the power that they bring and the consult that they bring to me. I really want to make sure everybody understands that none of this was easy. None of this could be done alone. But hopefully some of the folks that have joined me in this journey of life will join us, and we'll have them as quick guests, just a quick quote or otherwise. But the most important thing for me is just keeping and staying inspired. Never giving up, never surrender, finding ways for me to stay strong and ways for me to make sure that we can slay the day, right? That we can stay focused. I have been on a journey now, and I will say I am beside myself, and I'll go live now because giving back, making sure I pull in the right folks, making sure that I get the best advice. I've got a couple of guests queued up already. If you're interested, text me, send smoke signals. I'm going to be shifting in and out as I let some of these folks in. About a decade ago, I want to kind of introduce the first person who had a true guiding point for me. And what I will say is how to show up, how to give back, and how to do that regardless of age or exhaustion or anything else. He's a true friend, and I'm beyond ecstatic that he's going to be the first person that I get to pull in because he's been an inspiration for me. And I will say, not going to lie, we talk almost every week, and he has continued to inspire me beyond belief. Let's get Dave David Barry on, who's also been a guest of mine on the Executive Leadership Series. Every week, this man drops some incredible nuggets of knowledge. He is literally the encyclopedia of knowledge and experience and passion. And I am beyond honored that you showed up today, David. I know I talked to you earlier, but showing up today at the end of your day in the East Coast to support my West Coast adventures has been phenomenal. So thank you for joining. And please share, drop the knowledge as you normally do.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mel. Thank you. And it's been an honor as well to. I sit down with Mel every week. We talk about what's going on, how we're going to do things, what he's doing, what I'm doing, etc. And I think part of the messaging here is that, and for everybody on the call and those that will watch the video later, is the whole notion of collaboration. This isn't not a one man's kind of show thing. This is all about people getting together and people being kind of a part of a community to help each other. Right, and that's what my goal has been, whether it's in my business, and as I say, as you can see from the title here, I'm the founder of Nomad CIO, which is exactly that. I'm a Nomad CIO going into companies and help fixing the company, hire the permanent CIO, move on. And I've been working with Mel for quite some time when he was living here in the East Coast, and then since he's moved out to the West Coast, we've always maintained an ongoing communication, and I think that's half of the battle. I think, and a lot of people in our industry, in IT industries, don't do that. They go radio silent when they move out of town, and that's unfortunate because I think you really lose a an opportunity to learn from people what they're doing, the companies they're in, the industries they're in, what's happening in their particular part of the world. And so for me, this has been great. Every week I speak to Mel every Monday afternoon at 12 Eastern or 1 o'clock Eastern time. We have a call and just to catch up. Here's what's going on. Here's what we're doing. What are you doing, Mel? Here's what I'm doing, etc. So that whole collaboration, communication thing, I just can't tell you how much it means to continue that on. And for people new in the industry, wow, if you don't start now, and I tell you, I'm after my kids all the time, and I've got a 15, a 17, and a 21, and whew, it's a tough challenge, right? Getting these guys to just socially open up and actually have a conversation with you. So this is something I hope I can translate onto my children as they get into the big world. So
Yeah.
thank you, Mel.
So, David, I got to give folks a little bit of the backstory of how I met you. So I was very active on the East Coast with the Society for Information Management. And I remember this day to like if it was literally yesterday. I'm trying to work the networking, and some folks are great at networking. When you kind of approach them or otherwise, and some folks maybe not so much, right? Um, I probably wasn't as loud or obnoxious back then as I am now, but that's a whole other story. And Rona,
Mhm.
Rona said, I was sitting next to her in this round table and a bunch of, networking pieces. And she leans over to me and she goes, "You've got to meet him. He's incredible." And I looked across the way and it was you. And I hope Rona can make it today. And I, it was busy. There were about 5, 6, 7, 8 tables. They had a couple speaker panel pieces. And I was like, he must have gone home. So I go to the bathroom because I need to go to the bathroom. Well, that's where we have our engagement. That's where we have our first conversation as, either you're washing your hands or whatever it was. And I have to say, every conversation after that, this man here has shown a generosity in time and advice and everything else way beyond what you would expect from a tenured leader who's got the scars and everything else. And that was one of the best examples that I saw of someone who does give back, but can hold the highest of highest titles and highest of accomplishments. And I was like, if you don't get to know David Barry, you are losing out on life if you're trying to go from an executive standpoint to do what you do. And the give back, I mean, everything was mirroring what I was trying to do, but anchored by the amount of work or the trajectory of where I was going. So you have literally been an inspiration for over 10 years.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
that's why I
Appreciate it.
wanted to make sure that you showed up today and that I could thank you publicly yet again, because you were also the top viewable interview that I did with Executive Leadership Series to date by 10x.
Yeah.
And you, every time we talk, I don't, I almost think like you're a magic 8 ball and something new comes up, some story that ties into a theme, that ties into a lesson. And I appreciate you for everything you've given me in knowledge transfer, the support, and passion. So thank you, sir. You are an inspiration. If you don't
So
know David, if you can't, if you don't, if your company needs it, freaking hire him because he is an inspiration.
So I will tell you this, Mel. I think I've told you this story. So for people on the call, my 15-year-old, when he was, I think he was probably 8 or 9 years old, he said to me one day, he said, "I know what you do for a living, Dad." And I'm thinking like, okay, does he even know what the hell we're talking about here for a living, right? And I said, okay. So his name is Felix, and I said, okay, Felix, what do I do? And he goes, you go to college every day. And I never forgot that because he overheard me talking to someone about changing industries, very much like you do, Mel. You get into different companies, different industries, and you're not sort of zoomed into one industry. You're industry agnostic at the end of the day, right? And it's the ability to get into these industries, knowing that you're going to have to start, put on your cap and gown and get in there for a 2 week primer to figure out what's going on in this particular industry, whether that's financial services, aerospace, retail, manufacturing, whatever. And that's been part of the joy of doing what I do. And I think it's the same thing you do, Mel, which is you get into a bunch of different industries where it's a nonstop learn.
I love this. And, most of what we talk about, it really is learning from you, but it's so deeply rooted in the give back, right? And I've talked to a lot of executives who are just incredible and successful and give back and give advice, but you really take it to the next level, and you really, really, really are an inspiration to that.
Thank you.
It's it's um, it's one of those things that I use as a core motivator for me. It was I took three very specific pieces that I get organized, stay driven, and be helpful. I was devastated in so many different roles and so many different commutes and everything else that I could never give back. Right, my history, my experience, and I could just never. And then I meet you, and you are just an abundance of give back. And I say, well, I need to put myself in the right place with the right people, with the right components, which is what created the quest for the West, right? And you could look it up hashtags on LinkedIn and motivational pieces, but it really did inspire me to say, what I'm doing is good. I'm showcasing my skills, but it wasn't at the level where I wanted to give back, and that's what started this journey. Got inspired by my daughter, oldest daughter, who wanted to go to San Diego State after running a podcast to help kids. And I mean, she was really an incredible, incredible influence. Um, and I will say, for me, all of these things coming together in one, place was just genuinely incredible. You've been so supportive for literally a decade, and it's important that everybody understands not everybody's going to be like David, right? Some folks will give you one or two pieces of advice, move along. Some folks will give you about a minute and a half and then move along, right? And I've been in that scenario, and that was one of those sparks that caused me to say, I'm in the wrong place. Um, 5 years yesterday, I will say the journey has been, pretty interesting. But because of the power of the network, because of advice, and because of the networking, it's just been phenomenal. So, David, I want to thank you for
You're welcome.
being you, period, because you give back, right? You give back to local college and everything else. And to me, if you don't know David, you're missing out on decades of nomad experience, right? He's seen the industry. Just go recap the industries you've been in, because this is that nomenclature that I love when a CIO or CISO says, "Oh, I've always been in this sector." Go ahead.
Well, so I started out in consumer products, and by that I mean I started out like companies like Pepsi, and then I went to the Dannon company in the yogurt manufacturing, and then I went on to Haagen-Dazs in the ice cream industry, and then I popped over to France for about 4 years, and I was in all kinds of food industries. I mean, making beverages, making brassard, which is a kind of a donut type of thing in France, to Le Notre, frozen ice cream, frozen desserts, and all that kind of stuff. Crazy stuff, right? And so I did that, and then came back to the U.S. As a CIO for Burger King. So now I went on consumer products into Burger King, which is retail. It's not food, it's retail. Okay. And so, and then the phone, we merged with Guinness to form Diageo. The phone rang, and it was for Coty, which is based in the Netherlands, Coty Cosmetics. So, okay. I joined Coty and spent 11 years in the Netherlands, met my wife there, had my children there, and then came back to the United States in 2009. And I went on this journey because I wanted to understand why it was so difficult to change industry. So come back to your question, Mel. Since coming back, I've worked in aerospace, retail, financial services, manufacturing, footwear, apparel. I think I'm missing one here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a bunch more. Yeah, there's 18 all in, and I'm trying to remember what they are. I actually had to put a spreadsheet together because I couldn't remember them all,
I
and I
remember.
still can't. I still can't remember them all, right? And so, but those are some of
It
the
might be easier for you to say what you haven't been in than it
yeah.
would be what you have been in.
Well, I worked in healthcare. When I first came
Right.
out of the military, I started in healthcare. So I did the healthcare thing, working in a hospital, and then working for a company that delivered healthcare systems into hospitals. Right. So now all of a sudden you're into hospitals. Then I jumped out of that into core manufacturing, and then worked into then to food, and then it just kind of goes on and on. And probably one of the most interesting one was aerospace in up in Canada for Bombardier Aerospace, because
Right.
building a jet. I mean, who the hell thinks about this stuff, right? We think about getting on a jet. We don't think about
Right.
like what it takes to build a jet. Sit down with an engineer and talk about QA. You'll get it. It'll blow your mind just talking about the QA that goes on inside of constructing and designing a jet. So
Yeah.
it's been a hoot. It really has. It's nonstop learning, and that's what happens when you go to these different industries.
And every conversation that I have with you, you, I can never tell if you're tired, right? And that's one of those things that I kind of made sure that as I was going through I mean, it's 10 years of just near field learning from you, right? And we've never actually worked together, right? But
No, no.
every conversation that you've had that I've seen, in networking or otherwise, um, is really part of that core mantra that I have, which is the give back, right? You share, you give, you support. And, from a leadership standpoint, I freaking love it. I love the interview we had. I know we're planning a follow up to the interview we had. But I appreciate you, sir. And to me, it's one of those things of, if you want an example of what our leaders should do or
Mhm.
should act like, you're in, right? Because for me, it's not easy, right? It's not easy to make time to give back, right? When
Right.
you've got family and finance and this and
Oh yeah,
schools and this, that, and the other.
yeah, yeah,
But when you can make that time, woo,
yeah,
that is incredible,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
but you know what I think part of the give back, giving back to that people probably should think about, is that it's not just a one-way street, right?
right,
It's about listening to people, and if you think about what goes on, I get back to a community college here in Westchester Community College in Valhalla, New York, and you get into these groups where the diversity of the student population is over the top. I mean, I was in a class, cybersecurity class. Professor asked me to come in, and it was 26 students in 13 countries represented in this class.
right.
50% from different countries outside the United States. And so you get to think about and talk about the social side of things. And for example, what is it like for people in different industries and different cultures to interview for a job?
Right.
It's a different deal. It's a totally
Yeah.
different deal. So you get to teach people the stuff, and then they have to tell you what's not acceptable in their country. So it's a bi-directional kind of thing. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. And that's one of those things that I made sure um even before I think we had talked, and it was that give back, right? We have life experiences. We know where we came from to where we are, and if you can't find time to actually give that back in some way or some form, it's going to be wasted, right? And for me, when I landed here, it was so I'm on the west edge of LA, right? I've got the Santa Monica mountain range right across from me. 3, 4 miles up, I've got the path that leads to where they filmed MASH. So if you've ever seen the introduction to MASH with the
okay.
mountains and the scapes and everything else, that's what's across the street from me, right? And then 12 minutes down the path of the canyon, I'm staring at Malibu Beach, right? Now in New York, I would have been about 2, 3 hours away from and no offense to the East Coast, a decent beach, right? But putting myself and making sure that I could support my family and my kids in the right way was just as critical as me being where I needed to be. And you were a true inspiration in so many different ways. I really do appreciate everything that you provided, given. Um, it's it is, and I will say, Greg, I need you to hop on this call. So I've already sent you the link. But building trust, building communities, and that give back, brother, you've been doing it for a long time,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Because I
fun.
know
It's
we've had
actually fun.
conversations.
It's
Yeah,
not work. It's not work. It's fun.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. And it's funny. I hope Rashida can join because we had this conversation about 2 years ago, and we were at a conference, 1 day conference, and and afterwards we were mixing around with a few folks, and we just sat and we were eating some snacks at the restaurant next door. And Rashida is, first of all, phenomenal. She's just like the things that she can extract and kind of motivate you with are just incredible. But we were having a conversation about our efforts, right? Things that we do. And I think she prompted or I prompted something about, working hard. And she's like, "Why do you have to work hard?" And I paused. There was some kind of interaction like that. I hope she jumps in so that she can. I sent her the link for the live stream. I hope she can jump in. But it was something in that exchange, and I had to pause. I said, "You know what, Rashida? You're right. It isn't hard work. It's heart work.
Mhm.
It's a passion for me to give back. It's a passion for me to take the nuggets and the traumas and the dramas of what I've done to educate others so that it doesn't take them 30 years to figure out what it took me 30 years to figure out. Right. And they can jump and leapfrog 1 year, 1 month, 10 years, and then maybe advance. And that was what set my, kind of my tone in the give back. Right. It was, I know I need to improve and support my family and do everything I can. But what I wanted to do was make sure that it is a new dawn, a new day, a new
Yeah.
life for me. And I want to feel good about it. And the only way I could feel good is the give back, right? Because if I went through my whole life story, it'd be a very interesting path of things, but I don't need to. All I need to do is understand how I can help someone, and you've done that in spades for so many people that don't even know you. You just show up, you provide advice and guidance, and to me, that's the example that everybody should be setting. So thank you for
Thank you.
all
Mel.
of that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Uh, so if someone that doesn't know you, if they were to hop in here, what would you like to leave them with?
Be curious. Be constantly curious about things because I think without having that curiosity thing, you fall into the trap of I only do what I know, right?
Mm, right.
And that's not a place you want to be. You want to be in a situation where you're constantly learning. And just before this call, I was listening to an audio book. It's called The Empire of AI, and it's written by
Mm,
Karen Howe, and it's about the story of OpenAI and the whole history of how it got there, the politics, the people, the brains that have occurred, and you know,
Right.
the Microsoft thing and the Altman and the
Yep.
fallout and the fallback
Yep.
in and all that stuff.
Yep.
And it's to be able to learn not just the technology, but like how we got here.
Right. Right.
You know, so
And
that curiosity.
you hit on a great point, right? There's the people component, there's a networking component, but there's also the advancement in your knowledge and pushing
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
And that was part of this quest for the West in 2000. I'm sorry, 2020. And part of that quest for the West was getting back to reading. Last year, between audiobooks and physical books, I hit a whole new high. I have to pull it back this year because I'm like, all right, I can't keep going that much higher. But the learning and that hunger, right? So, David, I just want to appreciate you so much for the inspiration. Can't wait for our next live streaming interview. One prompt and that's it, and then we riff. So, it's this man's incredible. If you haven't seen it, it's on my YouTube channel, MRTech99. You'll see a bunch of great other interviews there. Thank you, David. I actually want to
Well,
kind of give
yep,
some time
yep,
to
gotta
some of
move
these
on.
other lovely folks that are in the queue. Stay awesome, and I will see you soon. Have a safe trip.
You got it. Yep, I'm off to
All
Spain.
right.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Take
All
care,
right.
guys. Bye-bye.
So, I'm actually going to go in the order that I met these folks and the inspiration that they've given me. And I have two folks queued up. And this next powerhouse, if you see her, she is the most welcoming, most systematic thinking, and best smile person I've ever met. She understands global impacts of certain cybersecurity pieces and compliance. But at the end of the day, she's just an awesome person. And Miss Shannon Noonan, I would love to introduce the world to you.
Uh-oh. Can you
Your camera,
hear me?
your camera, killing me, Smalls.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
All right, let's see if it works. Come on, you can do it. Your mic is off, your camera's off. Come on, you can do it. We lost her. Okay, so let's wait for. So Shannon has been phenomenal. I don't know if I should wait for her or if I should go to this next guest because this next guest is just all right. I'm gonna see if she can fix her technical issues. Now, this next guest and I have really only talked about 2 or 3 times, but both times was for about 18 hours. And the amount of pieces that we've been able to share with each other, and inspirations and life, business, work, cybersecurity, and everything else has been phenomenal. So let me add Greg to the call, and I want to make sure that everybody understands. This man has probably about twice my height, first of all, which but is so well grounded in understanding the kind of why and what of not only his role but his responsibilities, both personally and professionally. And it's just a genuinely awesome person. He really is. So Greg, as we sit here in the 5th year and 1 day anniversary of me landing out here, us only meeting in the last year or so, year and a half, what do you want to share with folks? No, none of the drama pieces that we talked about at 12, 1, 2 in the morning in our last chat. But maybe they're all work related anyway. But what do you want to share with folks about kind of seeing someone land out here, from the East Coast, born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York, and then bringing that sass and that salsa and that merengue out here? Talk to me, brother.
SAS is important, first off. Anyway, thank you for those kind words. And, from my perspective, I'm also somebody who landed out here, right? Well, actually, you don't know, so I can't say right. So I actually was living in Germany for about 5 years as a defense contract after leaving the service, because I was trying to figure out how to, one, network, and then start to build that network within the defense community. Then you know how contracts go, they end, and you have to find more work. And if you don't know enough people, you don't get brought into the new contract. So that's when I chose to make the move, bring the family to SoCal because there's a lot of work for the CISO side. And, found some really interesting roles, but it's tough, right? So it's just getting yourself out there, finding whatever means necessary to get in front of other people. And I am a hardcore introvert. So I don't like being in social settings for too long, generally speaking. So I think I was telling somebody the other night, Mel, was I find at least one or two people, I'll chat with them, and then we'll just end up chatting for most of the night. So
we've done that a few times now, at least 2 or 3 times, while your car is idling at 1 or 2 in the morning because they brought it over to you. Was the last time. And what I appreciate about you is the pieces in the career component that you mentioned, right? What you fought for, not only for your team, but for yourself, and the kind of direction that you want to take things in, right? And to me, those are the kind of things that a lot of people may not be comfortable in sharing, or may not be comfortable in fighting for, right? Whether it's their team or themselves, right? One of the chapters that I wrote in a contribution book was the chapter I wrote was moving from selfless to selfish, right? And because people don't like selfish, I said, okay, self-care. And one of the things that we always forget is we want to do this give, get the teams ready, fight for the budget, fight for the company, but we forget about ourselves. And that was part of the lesson that I learned when I was contributing so much to companies and projects and everything else. But then when it came to a point where I asked for something, I didn't even have time to do it. Right. So that's when I was like, well, if I can't find time to give back, then why am I working? Why am I here? What's so that's where I just snapped and I said, no, you're not taking control of my schedule. You're not, and that's in the beginning of 2020 when I created this give back component. And to me, talking to you and kind of the journey you've been through has been really just absolutely incredible because you have balanced that, right? It's, hey, I'll go all in to get the work done, but I also need a few things for me, right? Whether it's resources or otherwise, right? So I love that balance that you've been able to share. And it really does help when you can find like-minded folks in industry that, I think you're younger than I am, so I had to learn my lessons, way too long. But when when you can share them and with folks you barely know or otherwise, that is that, and David just was phenomenal, and he's been sharing so many incredible stories. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on my YouTube channel. And I believe it's also on LinkedIn, the interviews that I do as part of the Leadership Network. And it's just phenomenal. He has shared so many incredible insights. And to you, brother, I appreciate you for hopping in here.
Thank you.
And, if you were to leave folks who are early, mid, or late career with advice, what would that be?
There will be sacrifice, and I wish that everything was set up in a way in this world that you had this program that you would get through, and it'll be laid out for you. But unfortunately, it's just not like that. And go in having that expectation that what you thought it might be isn't necessarily going to be the thing that you're going to be running into. I go back to my military days. I had expectations there. I had expectations on defense contracting. I had expectations on the public sector, private, you name it. And eventually it's just, you have to set your own expectations. That goes back to that, self-care, right? More selfish, right? You do have to take care of yourself, and you have to live within your expectations. But you have to get there first. So you have to build your brand. You have to sacrifice. You got to do the hard work, because nobody will take you seriously if you don't do the work in the first place.
Well, Rashid, I don't know if you heard the last segment with David. Rashid and I were sitting there, and I said, it's not about the hard work, it's about the heart work, right? This is what I do for the teams, for the companies, and everything else. It is about, what are you passionate about? What do you like to do? Yeah, technology, security, but also building teams, changing lives. And that's what I wasn't able to do with the roles that I had previously. And that's why I said, I can't give back and teach people what I learned over 45, 50 years. Why am I, what trajectory am I going to go? Am I just going to be, part of the gears that keep things going? Or am I actually going to reach back and help everybody pull up? So the give back to me is huge, like massive. And that's why that last mantra and my 3 mantra piece for 7 years now is be helpful. Right. And that's the base really of what I do. And yeah, I got to make a living. And, anybody who's hiring or otherwise, I'm here. But for the most part, making sure you have the right talent, making sure you've got all of the right, components, and then putting an effort into not just the work component, but the atmosphere, the learning, and everything else. So that's why we end up talking for like 6 hours after an event, right? Because you share in that, and I appreciate you for that, sir.
It's important to make those connections. And I'll say too is, like the current role I'm in now, I have another opportunity to build a team, right? And everyone I've picked on this team is somebody that I'm nurturing, kind of fostering their professional development. And some of the folks, they don't want to do, what I'm asking them to do, and I'm asking them to get out of their comfort zones. I'm also being respectful to what their needs and wants are, because we have to, as leaders, not to just throw somebody into the fire and they don't want to do it at all. So then they're not going to do a good job for you in the first place, right? If it's part of their roles and responsibilities, that's a different discussion. But helping folks grow in a professional career is one piece of give back. Then I think, was it David, whoever before said it?
Yeah, David.
They also teach on the side. I'm also a professor in cybersecurity, which is my passion, right? Well, actually, my passion is computers, but back in the day, we just
said it was underwater basket weaving. It was not cybersecurity.
Oh, that's true. I mean, who can go wrong with underwater basket weaving, especially as an elective, right? So just get in there, you just start weaving some baskets. It's fun.
Listen, you may cut yourself every now and then on sharp edges, but just power through it. Greg, I do want to say I can't wait for our next multi-hour mega session after an event, which is usually what happens. But let's figure out how we can pull our resources together, kind of motivate people. You're a genuinely awesome soul, and I know all of us go through a lot of different pieces, a lot of different things, but we also have a lot to share. So thank you for being on here today. I have to say, this next person that I'm going to bring on, hopefully her technical issues have been resolved. I'm just saying, she's one of the most incredible powerhouses that I have ever met. And we had a phenomenal time last year at Black Hat, and we're going to try to see if we can repeat it, but maybe not. I don't know how we repeat that. But Greg, thank you. Stay awesome, and looking forward to our next 16-hour chat after an event. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
All right, let's see if we can get now we're cooking with Crisco. There she is. I have to say, ma'am, there's people that know you, and I appreciate that, but there's people who don't know you.
There's a lot of people that don't. God bless them all.
Let's change that, right? we started last year. Let's continue doing that, right? If you do not know who Shannon Noonan is, go to my YouTube channel, MRTech99. There's a whole series from last year at Black Hat. And let me just tell you, this leader is one of the most, I felt tired, and I'm highly caffeinated, and I felt tired. I was like, how does she freaking do it? How does she do it? She's all and the energy and everything else. So your live streamings may start to crash. Your power grid may start to fall because both of us are on a call. Guess what? Suck it up. Watch it later, okay? Because it's being recorded. But Shannon, I cannot imagine anyone who doesn't know you kind of meet you now, and they're gonna be like, what just happened to the earth, right? The seismic activity on this call. Walk us through what your feelings were of last year's Black Hat, because I know what mine were, and we have the whole live stream on YouTube and I believe on LinkedIn. But walk us through kind of what brought us to that point where you and I were just riffing and enjoying these interviews.
We were being us. We were having fun, and that's really what it was about, right? We have an expertise. We're capable. It stinks in some of the stuff that we do in our lives, but why not have fun while we do it? And that's what we did. We had a good old time, and we met with some incredible individuals at the event. We talked to them. We brought people together that never met each other, and we had fun. And we are totally doing it. So when's the daily happening? That's what I need to know. So
So
who got
I'm
where
saying we hit the
live?
same spot, right? It was right by the Starbucks, between the
Does same
Starbucks
spot
and the.
exist? I don't even know. We're gonna find that out on
It's
Sunday.
when we land, we'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure it out.
So
We'll figure it out.
obviously, if anybody from Black Hat or the hotel catches us, we'll relocate. But we just set
gotta
up.
be in the Fountain Blue lobby because Black Hat didn't care.
We'll figure out the rest, right? But honestly, we had such great conversations, right? We just pulled people out of the crowd that we knew, and we just asked them questions, and we were rifting through
We asked
a
people
lot
who
of
didn't
things.
know. Said you this way.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I know you, right? And I think just the ones that we did plan were just also incredible, and to me, that was what it was kind of just like that man on the street kind of man and woman on the street, just asking questions or impact or why are you here, and kind of, and that was really really invigorating because one, I got to showcase some more suits, but that was a whole other story. But two, the energy that you exude, man. And I'm highly caffeinated, and I try to get a lot of sleep.
Caffeine, so.
I needed a nap after every one of those. I was like, what just happened? I got hit by like the exponential amount of energy and power, while I'm standing there, and I
just to talk to me in the morning. So it's
I just, but I have to say, such an incredible time, right? And it was only for like an hour a day. Right. It was like from 1 to 2 or whatever it was.
Whatever.
But man, the amount of people that we were able to pull in and the conversation we were having, and you're interviewing them, I'm going out and picking up the next person, and I'm interviewing them and you're going out and picking them. And it was so much fun. But I think what's most important there, Shannon, is that we do have such a broad network, right? And we work so hard to build that network of trust that people are willing to spill the beans. And I'm like, just be careful. This is live streaming, right? So, don't complain about your boss.
Yeah.
Right. They'll tell them that you just got hacked, right? Or anything else like that. But honestly, it was one of those weeks where I was like, and it started on Sunday.
Yeah.
With the awards, and then we went to Black Hat, and then we went to
no, you went to B-Sides while I went golfing.
Right, but then we ended up at the end.
DEF CON.
We didn't even have a pass. DEF CON. We didn't even have a pass. We just snuck into the cafeteria.
You and I sat in the cafeteria together.
Yeah. But the beauty of it, I think, was that there was no prompts, right? And I think for me, that's the most. It's like just any topic you want to talk about, and it was, and live. That was the other thing. It was not pre-recorded, no editing, no anything. It was live.
I'm not really sure if I swore too much. I haven't really gone back to review it, but
well, this is live, right? So and that's what
we're in a good spot.
I didn't even know you were going to show up. I just invited, about 8 or 9 people. I'm like, whoever shows up, right? Some people are in transit, some people are in meetings, because I think what the most important thing is that the experiences that I've had here in the last 5 years, I wanted to make sure that the folks who who had the time, one, during this time, but two, who had an impact on my life showed up, right? Because that's why I have to schedule a call with you every 3 to 6 months, because I will usually need a nap for a weekend after we get off the call, because I've got so many ideas and so much energy going. I'm like, oh my God. So but I appreciate you for the leadership you're providing, the guidance you're providing, the services you provide to all your clients. I cannot imagine if you came into an organization that I was running, I'd be like, scorched earth. She just cleared up everything that we had, every issue that we had. I'm like, over the last 10 years, she did it in few months, because I recognized that power and I saw that power. And I was like, wow, that's why we connected. That's why we went into Black Hat and did those live interviews. Every one of those was live. Right. And if you can, it's on YouTube, it's there's all also on LinkedIn. What an incredible time. If you were to talk to somebody who's early or shy or has kind of, working their way through leadership, what would you recommend to them? I know what I would, but what would you recommend to them that they could learn from you in how you do what you do?
That's actually an incredible question, because it's been asked to me a lot since my conference I just had 3 weeks ago. And someone said, how did you get to where you were? And I literally looked at them and said, to be honest with you, I never said no. I was willing to learn. I was willing to dive in. I was willing to do things that people maybe second guessed because they weren't aware, or they didn't know how to start, or they didn't know where to go. And I just kind of said, all right, let's try this. Let's stay curious. Let's do these things and go through it. And so needless to say, I look at people and I say, don't be afraid to try. First of all, don't be afraid to ask the stupid question, because realistically, there are no stupid questions. If you don't know something, ask. But also be a sponge and learn. You don't want to be that person that asks the same question over and over again because you're not capable of retaining it. So you're either not understanding the concept or what's happening, or you don't know where to go with it. So let's figure that out. If you're sitting there saying, I don't know how to do this, and you ask the same question, if I don't know how to do it 4 times, I'm going to sit there and ask you, why do you not understand it? But it really comes down to it is be a sponge, be willing to dive into anything, get rid of all the noise of politics and craziness, and just dive in and get it done. When you get rid of all of the noise and you are authentic, people will follow you. People want to work with you. People will want to be around you because they know you're true and they trust you. And that's another half the battle. You've got to be trusted.
Oh,
If people don't trust you, nobody's going to want to work with you. So if you have to truly do those things to get people to trust you, and maybe I'm too ethical. I think my face says it anyway. I don't know how to lie, because even if I was lying, it'd probably be a face like something, or like, you know, if I don't like something and I'm quiet and you see this look in my face of like, you know, off the bat, I'm not happy. So it's like,
so first of all, 99.99, like 5 nines, you're smiling. So if I see that off decimal, I'm like,
like,
right?
Yeah,
I'm like, I need to take her seriously.
What's going on? Yeah.
How did I just screw up? Is basically what would go in my mind, right?
Well, that's the thing. And it's so true, though. But in our lives, if you look at it, right, we got to look at everything that we do, right? You and I have talked about this many times. Your life is so integrated. It's not just about work. Your personal, professional, and financial lifestyle is all intertwined. So this work-life balance that everybody wants to talk about is BS. I didn't swear, by the way. Is BS. Because realistically, every piece of your life is intertwined. It's about scheduling the time for yourself to be self-care. It's about spending time with your family. But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, oh my gosh, I have to read this quote. I'll get to that because I'm going to sidebar in a second. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty. You have to be willing to struggle and accept the risk and do things that most people are not willing to do. And that goes back to the point of saying yes. Now, as I say yes to things, I am an ethical yes person, not something unethical. So if it's illegal or something that you don't think is right, ask your advisor or someone that you trust to go back. But what I mean is like, say yes to doing something. Like early in my career, I said yes to starting an internal audit department at a startup company. It gave me, it opened so many doors for me. I was 25 years old, starting an internal audit department at a $500 million company that made it to $1 billion within 3 years of me being there. Now, did I make an impact? Yeah, I did.
Take full credit. Just take full credit.
I made it. I made it to the billion. No, I made an impact in that organization. I helped redefine processes. I helped implement stuff. But one of my biggest things that has really created my career and created a baseline that allowed me to go in a different direction was one, I started an internal audit department. Hands down, that is not an easy job, right? Just like security is not an easy job. Being the person to tell someone that they suck at their job and they're awful is really not fun, right? And as I say that to you, try being this 25-year-old telling all of these 50-year-old individuals, predominantly men, that they're not doing a good job. Like, if they didn't trust me, I would have made it. I would have been canned within months, days, probably. But what they did do to me is I had an audit and I found 35 issues. And I will never forget this. This is why I can explicitly tell you this. 35 issues. And the COO of the company looked at me and said, you got to fix it. And I said, but I'm internal audit. I don't fix anything. I tell you the issues, I give you recommendations, and I come back and check in down the road. What do you mean I'm fixing this problem? He goes, we are not publicly traded. There is no conflict of interest. You're in charge. And I was like, oh, I'm everything. Everything you want.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for, Shannon. Be careful the power that you demonstrate.
Because I was like, are you really sure you want me to do this? But I had to dive into something. And you know what?
Right.
After he gave me the go ahead, I was like, all right, let's do this. And I
unleash the Kraken.
That's what he did. He knew. Like, but I had earned that. I had proven in 6 months what I was capable of doing. I had proven that I was there. And so they trusted me to take a $50 million product line that was worth, so I just told you, it's a $500 million business. So this $50 million product line, what is that? 1% or 10% of the business? Can't do math right now because it hurts. And they're telling me to fix it and improve it. And we're talking from sales all the way down to execution of the customer success team, all the way through revenue recognition and paying the bills. I had to do all of that. I was developing a system with IT on how to track information. I was doing analytics to find out where we weren't billing customers properly. I was renegotiating contracts with vendors because they resold products. I was redefining their commission process on how the sales team got paid. From A to Z, that's what I was responsible for. And then I had to develop an entire company training and run everyone in the entire company through this. And on a weekly basis, I had to do KPIs with the COO, the CFO, and the CEO to explain what I had accomplished and what I had done. And what they wanted to know is what revenue I had found. And weekly, we were finding revenue that they had not built or cost that they were paying for that shouldn't have been paid for. And that was like what I was responsible for out of nowhere.
They did not know that as soon as they gave you that like starting gun, they unleashed the Kraken.
Oh, they just it was gone.
You were literally like dominated. You're like, oh, it's gonna be like that. Oh, okay.
Sure.
And if that doesn't tell you the kind of leader, the kind of energy, and the kind of person that Shannon is, that's why I'm like, I may need to take a nap after this. I'm just saying. I may just let you continue to riff for the next 10, 15 minutes and just be like, I'm going to take a nap. But this is also why I tell folks I'm the Chancla survivor. Right? Like we've been through a lot of freaking noise, a lot of just, different industries, different leadership styles. I'm the father of 3 incredible young women. And for me to be able to, what you did, you got to scare one of them. She is not coming back this year. I just thought I'd let you know, but it's because she's working. And she's also not of age, so she can't drink in Vegas, but that's a whole other story, right?
That was safe.
Yeah. So, if you were in college, coming out of college and everything else, what advice do you give to young professional women? Because everybody's like, well, Mo, why do you support women? I'm like, because of the long ass story of how I was raised by my mother, seeing how the impact of everything else, and also try to set an example for my daughters. Right.
You have 3
so if you're
in a different world.
3 of them, ma'am, I am outnumbered, but I love it. So what advice would you give to leaders in cybersecurity and compliance or others that they should focus on when
identify what you want to do, and don't be afraid to go into an area that's male dominated, right? Don't be afraid of it. To be honest with you, some of my biggest allies are men. They're the ones who've brought me through and brought me to the top, right? So
is that because you punch them or because they believe in you? Because I don't know.
I think it's both. Probably both. Maybe they're not. I'm not sure. Like,
it's all good. You're a powerhouse, man. Don't even try that.
And I'm not sure why, because I'm nothing but this 5 foot nothing woman. So like.
Oh! You need to stop that. Yeah. No.
I'm 5'1". I am not that tall and big.
It's the nothing part. I know, ma'am. You're more. Yeah.
I have a strong personality that grabs a lot of attention. That is for sure.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I do try to tone it down. I do try. Actually, I don't actually know if I do or not, but I think I do. Uh, I definitely
You do.
stand out in a crowd, even though I'm this big, right? So,
Right.
but I learned about that early in my career, right? Find out what you are good at, right?
Right.
What is it that makes you tick, and then run with it, right? But find an
Right.
ally, find a mentor that's going to
Woo.
help give you guidance, and it's huge. People don't take advantage of that more often, and at the same
Right.
time, as I say this, don't forget a lot of these allied and mentors are busy. We don't
Right.
ignore people. We don't forget about you, but we completely ignore and forget about you at the same time. So you've got
Right.
to manage them too, right? You've got to be
Right.
the one that wants to get on their calendar and follow up and like ask the questions, come to the table ready and say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. What's your thoughts? And be ready to have that conversation and be ready to hear things you don't want to hear, right? Because you can't be afraid of hearing criticism, right? And you shouldn't
Right.
look at it as criticism. You should look at it as a growing opportunity, because there are things out there none of us like. But if you can't
Right.
hear the bad with the good, you're not going to grow. Because if the only thing you need is constant good and positivity, you're never looking at the other side of you, the dark side, the piece that needs improvement, the piece that needs to grow, right? I know for me, a lot of my improvement is literally getting in the front of the camera and doing media. I need to stop
Right.
swearing, but I'm authentic too. So, but you will see that I am truly who I am all the time. I'm getting
Right.
better with certain things, but I'm going to be who I am, and I've owned that.
You're an angel on this call. I'm just saying.
I am.
Did you take your angel meds or something? I'm just saying.
I'm getting better about this whole media presence thing. No, so but I've been sat down before and said, "Hey, you were a bit harsh there to that person." I have a strong
Right.
personality, just like you said. I'm full of energy.
Really?
Not
Never
a
seen
lot of
it.
people can take this personality, right? You've got to understand your audience. You've got to understand who you impact. And
Yep.
not everybody likes someone like me, right? And actually,
Well,
there's some people that
that's a shame on them. No.
well, it is, but or maybe they don't like me before 11 a.m. There could be a mix. Maybe 9
Don't talk to
p.m.
me before my third cup of coffee.
Their third cup of coffee, or maybe 9 p.m. when they've woken up fully because they don't go to bed till 3, 4 in the morning. Like you
Oh my
gotta
God.
figure out which side of the coin that is. But learning your audience, but when you find that allied and mentor, asking them the questions of how could I improve?
Woo.
What can I do that's better for myself? What is
Right.
something that I'm not good at that you think I could improve upon? Those
I
things
love
are not
this.
easy to hear, but
No,
those
they're
are the
not.
best things you need to hear, because how many times can you get pat on the back because you did something awesome that you repeated over and
Right.
over again? When you get to being really good at something, it's great to hear that it's encouraging. It builds the confidence. But what about the stuff that you're
Right.
not good at? How do you get better at those things? And then
Right.
it goes back to not being afraid of saying yes, right? So don't be afraid to go into an audience of men or multicultural or any of that stuff, because you're going to find a friendship, an ally, something that you're going to grow with. You're going to find that partnership that is not a partner that you are in a relationship with, but a partnership that is encouraging, that you can grow with. Like, and you've probably experienced this too, Mel. You outgrow people at some point, and it's not done on purpose. It's done because you start scaling up and you get past the point of, I don't want to do certain things. Right. And so
Yeah.
as you do that, you want to find those people that you want to be around, that are going to support your growth, that are going to be part of that growth, that want
I,
to be with you.
I want to share this because this is something that you said earlier, and I just found the one slide, the one picture, right? The limiting beliefs, where you put yourself, all of these things. I always crush them with one word, and that's yet, right? I don't know how to do this. I don't know who to reach out. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know, what my next career yet, right? And the reason I use this all the time in just about every freaking presentation is exactly what you just said, right? Is where you are, you have to be open enough to be, say, and you'll find the right people, right? I'll be like, hey, Shannon, I'm having a problem with this. If you give me 30 seconds to dismiss me, then I'm like, bye, Felicia, right? But if you say, hey, let's walk through that. Maybe it's only an hour, half an hour, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, okay, now I have direction. I may never go back to you because but that half hour, you just changed somebody's life. If
Well,
it's an hour, if it's a monthly, if it's whatever that is, that's incredible.
And I say to people too at the same time, I said this. So we had a ton of students at the conference, and I looked at all of them and said, here's my business card, email me and say, Alicia, I'm on a call, buddy. I am also a mom of two guys.
Bring
I
them
apologize.
on. Bring them in.
This is a link.
Yes. Hey.
Please go downstairs. I love you. Go downstairs. Go ask Jocelyn, not me. I'm on a call.
And there is life. There is life right there.
There is my life. That is for sure.
I love this.
6-year-old and 8-year-old, and I politely told them to go away. So, but
I love this, and I have Shannon. We need to do another our own executive series. I'm going to see you next week. I got to figure out a lot of logistics. We're going to do recording live, same equipment, same everything else. But you know how much I appreciate you for what you do and how you do it. You are a powerhouse,
right?
I know, and you know who has a all pass over here? Me. So I will try to make sure I schedule everything around you.
Caitlin Sarin is on stage with me, and I'm pretty sure we can get her to speak on the LinkedIn Live again.
Let's go. So we're going to be a little bit over time, but if I don't get this next person on,
get them on.
I will regret this for the rest of my life.
Do it.
Because this person has been so instrumental in so many decisions that I've made to make it out here for this quest for the West, has been so supportive, has been such an inspiration for well over a decade as part of the Society for Information Management, the Members in Transition group, as part of building out memberships for Fairfield Westchester SIM. I saw her just pop in, and I said, I don't care. All the rest of my appointments for the rest of the day can end. Sorry, Shannon. I'll see you. I'll probably see you on Sunday or Monday, but this person has been an inspiration to my life. And I don't care if it was a minute to 3 o'clock that she hopped in. Guess what? We're going to run through the rest of the night if I need to. You can hop back in. If you see us in an hour still on, you can hop back in.
I might just stay in the waiting chat room until
all right. So I have to say, and thank you, Shannon. Again, your energy. Again, I'm going to need a nap after this because we keep going like this. But let's. What 3, 4, 5 days? I'll see you. So let's go.
I can't believe it.
All right.
Anyhow, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always.
Oof. Well, get ready for a set of live stream from Vegas. I'll see you in a little bit. All right. Sorry, folks, but I have to preface this. The last 10 to 15 years of my life, I have spent trying to learn how to best network, how to learn from leaders, how to give back. And all of it was based on the connections that I made. I was clueless to what group, what organization, what I needed to do, where I needed to go. And then this person effectively came into my career, my life, and my inspiration. I am beyond ecstatic that she was able to make it right now, because I may have to go off camera, take care of some waterworks in a second, but Rona, you are literally one of the most incredible people that has helped me both personally, professionally, and everything else. And for me, I saw you pop in. I'm
so late.
I don't care what I have to do for the rest of the afternoon. I'm so glad you're here. You have been such an inspiration, not just to me, to so many folks in transition, to so many folks in the SIM women's group, in SIM MIT, in SIM Fairfield Westchester, and other areas, that if you don't know Rona, You are missing out on life experiences, that freaking smile, the energy she brings. Like, I mirror this between Shannon, her, and a bunch of other folks that I met. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm such a lame duck. I need to like ratchet this up, which is why I drink a lot of coffee, right? Because I'm like, I need to keep up with them. I may need a nap after this, but that's okay. So, Rona, you have been doing so much give back while building out your family and grandkids and everything else, but also work in the hustle so you can stay sustainable, and you help others land jobs, right? So the last whatever how many years, the landscape is flexed, and people and skills and resumes and everything else. I have to say, you are one of the most incredible champions of people, process, give back, and everything. And I know we got stories, they don't have to come out here, but I will tell you, ma'am, I appreciate you more because you were the one who pulled in. I don't know if you heard me earlier because David Barry was on
Oh, he did.
when we were sitting at that meeting, and I was sitting next to you, and you leaned over to me and you said, "You need to meet David Barry." And I said, okay. And it turns out that I couldn't catch him until we were both in the bathroom. That's a whole other story, right? But and he was on earlier, right? So
I know I got
Rona
on late.
is
I'm so sorry. I had a meeting.
no need to apologize. You are here, ma'am. I'm going to be here. I will cancel the rest of the day. But here's the thing: this powerhouse is. You already have your halo. You already have your wings because you have helped out so many people in some of the toughest times in their lives, right? And I'm not just talking about career, because I know if you do this for people in their career paths that are struggling, I know you're doing this for any other component in their life. Rona, I appreciate you more. I'm gonna have to go off video in a second, but I appreciate you more because you helped make this quest for the West happen in so many different ways, in what you did, how you did it, what you said, how you encouraged. I am so glad that God, Yahweh, and every other deity brought you into my life, because you have been an insanely incredible inspiration to me. And if you wanted a kidney, a liver, I'm O positive, by the way, so you figure it out. Damn it, this is why I knew I needed to have these here.
Don't do this, Mel.
I can't thank you enough for what you do.
You know you're equally important to me. We don't have to go into it, but you know something you did for my family.
Yes, but
we're connected. There's not even, I have no words.
This is my sister from another mister right here. I'm just saying. Rona, talk to us about this journey of yours and what got you to a point where like you were able to merge the heart work with the hard work and placing people and doing things. Because when you show up, ma'am, the MIT program, which is Members in Transition for SIM, like there's not a lot of people who will show up, right, who will show up week after week or month after month to help people land a job, right? So walk us through kind of what got you to a point where you're like, I need to give back. And you've been doing this a long ass time. I know this.
I have.
How many years?
So I've been recruiting for 26 years, and I've been on the board, and I know he has to take that break. I've been on the board of SIM for over 20 years. I've been in membership for SIM for over 20 years, helped build the Fairfield Westchester chapter. I actually started my career in technology. It's what I did for 19 years. I do have 3 grandchildren, so you might as well know. So I started my career in IT for 19 years and needed to find another career that was a bit more satisfying for me. And the key thing whenever you think to do that is put down, what do you want? What do you not want? And the top of my list was to help people. That was the first and foremost thing that I wanted to do. Is help people. That was it. And I'm that's pretty funny. This clapping. You're so awesome. Anyhow, so I found recruiting because it kept me in technology. I'm a technology recruiter. It kept my network. It kept technology. I have to stay on top of things. So I just feel it was an extension of that. And I do have a tagline, and I don't know if you can see it back there because I normally have this blurred, but I do have a gong. And I have a tagline, changing lives one placement at a time. And I hit the gong whenever I've made that placement. And it's, but more than that, I get to coach people. I get to, tell them maybe why they didn't get it. I get to, really help them. And I also get to lift people up, because looking for a job is hard. It's just hard. And you know what? When you interview, you've got to go in with the spirit and the smile. So I video prep everybody, but I'll spend an hour, 2, 3, 4 with anybody, anywhere. If they need my help, I'm going to be there for them. You got to lift people up in this world.
Okay, so I'm glad I went offline so I could take the ShamWow that I have next to me to clear up my face and my tears. So if anybody has gone through experiences in their life and they're looking for, and this is my example, and they're looking for that North Star or an inspiration or someone that you can learn from, that was you for me. Because I saw how much work you put into helping others. And that became the core of my quest for the West, right? Because you were helping me. You didn't need to help me. You didn't need to have conversations with me. But you did. And you did it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I will say, when I say be helpful, that core, that third pillar in my mantra that I still have as my wallpaper, 6 years on my desktop, that be helpful is grounded on what you showed, how you showed up, and a lot of other folks. But you were one of those foundations, because no matter what, you were always helping people. So your 30-minute or hour conversation to help someone became my cafecito with Mel at the beginning of 2020, right? Because I was like, I launched it, right? I was like, hop on a call, I'll help you. I will say that it is because of you and Chris and Joe and that Fairfield Westchester core that gave back on the MIT calls every week and everything else at, the crack of ass, right? This, on Thursdays and this, that, and the other. That was what created the foundation. And that's why for a long time, even when I was out here on the West Coast, I would still show up to those morning calls to help support as someone that can help those folks. And not gonna lie, I'm not getting up that early anymore. That's why I had to drop out of that one. But you, Chris Bernard, and Joe Puglisi have literally been the cornerstone of helping thousands of lives on the East Coast. And I know they probably couldn't make it, this, that, the other, but I want to make sure that I recognize that. Again, I'll stay on here for another hour if I have to, just to make sure that the world understands not only, yes, you've got a living to make and you've got family and you've got grandkids and this, that, the other, but you still make the time to give back. And when I was finding myself in jobs and organizations where I couldn't find the time to even give back within the organization, I was like, no. I want to be like Rona. I want to be like Joe. I want to be like Chris. I want to be like those folks who are showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning, who are showing up at noon, who are showing up at all these times to help others, right? Because I was doing it for my teams, but I didn't even have time to do it for myself. So when I say the core foundation of get organized, stay driven, and be helpful is based on the influences that you and my East Coasters had on me, and then fighting for me to put myself where I wanted to be here, my quest for the West, and how you supported that immensely, ma'am. Whew, I can't thank you enough.
Wow. I want to thank you, because you've also helped so many people. I've asked you, can you coach this, help this? You're always there. I think it's amazing. And honestly, you give of yourself. You really do. And if maybe that's where it began, but I
learned it from watching you, ma'am. I learned it from watching you.
And everyone knows you. I'm telling you, people know me about this much, but this how much everybody knows you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, everybody knows me this much, but your impact is this much, right? So I don't want to hear all that.
Right.
You show up every freaking meeting, and you encourage and you promote and you help. So, ma'am, don't try to flip this on me, ma'am, because you are a powerhouse, and you inspired me. And you, Joe, Chris, and everybody else who's out there who does this every week, every month, inspired me to do my quest for the West. Last year my new tagline is Intergalactic World Domination, because I don't want to limit myself. But and the help that you've provided to so many is heart work. That's why I said you have a halo and you have the wings, right? Because you were a perfect example of how to show up and how to help. So thank you.
Well, and thank you for taking it to incredible lengths. It's really wonderful. And I still can't believe it's 5 years.
5 years yesterday. I landed out here. Yep.
I mean, first of all, we so miss having you with us, but 5 years.
5 years.
5 years and 3 grandchildren. So what can I say? You know, a lot changing, right? A lot
beautiful. Yeah, no grandchildren for me, but that's okay because I need to spend time with the give back, right? And that's that beautiful thing that you three showed me, right? It was, hey, I've got family, I've got career, I've got to hustle, I got to do this. I'm supporting Sim Women's, this, that, the other, but you always made time to give back, and that was part of this quest for the West for me. I didn't have time to give back, even within my own organization. I said, well, something's got to change. If I can't give back, then what am I taking the 48, 49 years of my experience to do, right? I can do it for my teams, but that's a small scope. I mean, by COVID, I had 60 people on, the 10 development teams from 5 to 10. So yeah, I could have had a bigger impact, but I wanted to have a bigger impact. And I will say that quest for the West, your support, Joe, Chris, and everyone out in the East Coast, honestly, I would not have been able to survive the year and a half before that, the 3 years before that, the 5 years before that, if it had not been for what I've learned and what I've experienced in your give back. And to be honest, you need a kidney, right? You need part of my liver. I'm O positive, right?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone doesn't want to hear but I will say one more thing. Mel helped me with one of my kids, helped get my youngest his first job. There's a lot of twists and turns in that one, who is now married and the dad of my 8.5-year-old grandson. But Mel was very instrumental in that. And is he crying now? He's very instrumental. He's what he did for my family is huge, and that was just out of the goodness of Mel's heart. Mel and I already knew each other, and it just happened. So but hopefully, Mel, come back. I don't know if everyone just
you're ruining my mascara.
Right. And I can't, and I didn't even listen. I didn't know I was going to be ready for prime time today, so I'm not really ready for prime time. But
you look phenomenal.
I do have to go in 5 minutes, so just so you know.
I appreciate you, and I will say,
over 5 years, and I couldn't get off of my meeting fast enough to try to get in here. So sorry,
it's all good. No, don't ever apologize to me. You have nothing to. You have done so much, not only for me, but for the community. You never have to apologize. I will say, honestly, your encouragement, your words it took about 15 months for me to, go from April to June 2020, right? What was happening June 2020, Rona? Or July 2020, sorry.
I mean, our whole COVID, everything.
Right. But because of the support and the inspiration and everything else, and obviously me being able to run large scale projects, I moved anyway. Yeah. Right. And I think
the worst time.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, because I will say it was so life-changing for me to make the hardest decisions in my life, for COVID to kick in, and, the dynamics of where I landed, how I landed. Not gonna lie, 5 incredible years.
And look at your family, your girls, everyone's thriving.
They are. And everyone who's out there, if you haven't been impacted by Rona in the contributions that she's made to the East Coast, just know that anything I'm doing here in the West Coast is mirroring her energy, her give back, and Joe Puglisi and Chris Bernard. I can't even speak anymore, right? Yeah. It's that give back, that little triangle of folks showed me and supported me, that I'm just trying to manifest here on the West Coast. So if you're in your career path, I'm just going to say, reach out to the folks that will lend a hand, will lift you up. Rona, you have been such an inspiration for me. Again, you need a kidney, you need part of my liver, whatever it is, just let me know, because at this point, I think I'll be out of kidneys, the number of people I've offered it to. But I appreciate you. I know you've got to run, but it's a blessing in my life to have met you over a decade ago. And
Back at you.
the wings that you've earned and the number of people that you've helped is beyond belief. So if I could get 1% of that, give back to others, because I know I'll never be able to catch up because you've done it exponentially, I would be happy.
Well, I think you have. And just everybody who's out there, everybody should give back to others. Don't even think about it. Don't go, what's in it for me? Don't do anything like that. Just do it. I mean, make people smile. That's all I want to do is make people smile. That is the bottom line. And just, it's so, when you help others, you gain so much. You gain so much. That's the kind of people we need to be in this world. So I'm telling you, it's just, I hope to help people no matter what I'm doing forever. I want to make people smile and help them and motivate them and encourage them. I don't know what I'll do after this career, what the next thing is going to be, but I can promise you, I will be making people smile. There's not, because that is a wonderful thing to do for someone every single day.
I can attest personally, and just if I just take my personal experience of working with you and collaborating with you, you have changed lives, and you continue to change lives and make the world a better place, because I know what you have to deal with in trying to place people and try to, keep quotas, this, that, the other, or whatever that is. But the amount of work that you do above and beyond that isn't a paycheck it's sainthood for folks who are really, really struggling. And you've been there for me through some tough conversations and everything else. And I will say, I'm going to add Shannon back on because I want to be in between. As she scratches herself, I want to be in between these two energies, because we met too many years ago, Rona, but you also introduced me to David Barry, who was on this call. You were the one who created a conduit for all of the different pieces that I took and created articles about and pushed out there and offered people in the cafecitos. So everything that you did led to me meeting Shannon and led to me connecting with her. So
wow, that's not a line all the way.
So right, so the give back, the energy, everything else. I mean, I don't know, Rona, I don't know if you remember when I used to show up to those sim pieces. I felt like a little puppy, right? And I would be like, oh, who should I shake hands with? Who does it? Oh my gosh, they're a C.
Very true.
Well, and it was like, oh, they're the CIO of a Fortune 50. I'm like, wow, right? Oh, so
they're
I'm like,
people.
yeah,
They're
thank
people.
you.
But I
you.
do the same thing. It's almost like the imposter syndrome, but that nobody believes exists, and then all of a sudden you're like, and then if you shake that, you're just like, they're just people like everyone else. Let's go talk to them.
They're just
people. So that's what Rona was able to shift.
Yeah. But that's our sim chapter. I mean, you have Dave Barry, you have Joe Puglisi, you have Christopher Regard. You have these amazing people, but they're people. Yeah. They're people, and they're friends for life.
Well, and they want to talk, right?
They want to help.
It's that analysis of the beautiful woman in the room no one goes up to. It's that person that everyone's like, oh my gosh, this person, and everyone's afraid to go up to them. But no, go up to them because they want to talk to you. They want to learn about you. They want to learn from you, because that's one of the things about this is they're sponges too, and they got there because they asked a lot of questions. You might be able to teach someone at that level something new that they had never heard about, because they're so in tune to what they're doing day to day related to their job, their company, the organization. They're not seeing outside of it. I joke with people, Rona, you probably do this too, right? Everyone sits there and says, so did you see that latest show? I was like, is it on Disney? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I got a 6-year-old and 8-year-old. If it's not on Disney, I haven't seen it. And then any TV shows at the end of the day after working a long day. By the way, I do have my moments of needing quiet time. I stare at the wall because I'm like, I can't add another thing to my day. So I go and put myself in quiet time. So it's like, I don't know. Those people I know I want people to reach out to me and talk to me.
Yeah. Well,
I love this. So now you see the energy that I surround myself with. And so when everybody who hops on with me one-on-one is like, Mel, you bring so much energy, so much. So I'm like, I learned it from watching you two. I learned it from watching you two. All right. And a lot of caffeine. I mean, I have a coffee machine with it
I
in
will say
distance.
this. I crash at night, so I do want to say this
Oh.
energy is all the way up. It goes all night, but then I crash, and so I guess it's a good thing. But just so you know,
It's a reset.
Well,
yeah.
I want to thank you both for being the bookends to my day. I hope people can get inspired. I hope you're not inundated with requests to help them, but I'm also still open. My Cafecito link is still open. I have a lot of people that I connect in with. I still help. I still do free resume reviews for folks who are out of work because that's what I set off in the beginning of 2020 when I planned it in 2019. I still do that. If anybody doesn't know, between April and December of 2020, despite downsizing to a third the size of the house and relocating 2,500 miles, continuing to deliver at my job, I had nearly 500 cafecito calls to help people with their resumes, and I still continue to do that. Obviously, I have to temper my schedule a little bit because this whole work thing comes about every now and then. I will say also, I would love to be in an organization that can leverage not just my energy, but my 30, 40, too many damn years of experience, so that I can continue to give back and continue to grow. Because if these two bookends that I have right here can't explain to you this is the kind of energy we bring to the table, right? And this is the kind of energy that I want to surround myself with so that we can continue to motivate and elevate this industry and everything. So thank you both. What an incredible close to just something that I really wanted to
I'm too
celebrate.
good at that thing. Like,
I know you're not good
well,
at that.
cameras, like, yeah, guys, I do have some skills of issues here. Like, I can't.
Yeah. So I have special effects that I can usually throw out here. There we go. The confetti and everything else. But so thank you both. I do appreciate you more than you know, right? Because I don't say it enough and I want it recorded and I want the world to hear it. Thank you both for helping me start my career and kind of, get the guidance, and two, for continuing to support a lot of the things that I do. So both of you are incredible leaders, and I am beyond blessed to be just in your presence. So thank you for what you do. And this is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Shannon, nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you. And
Great
Mel,
meeting you, Rona.
Mel, keep going. You're just a love
Thank you.
to everybody. You are a giant heart.
Oh
I
my
learned
gosh,
it from
thank
watching you,
so
ma'am.
much.
I learned it from watching you.
We're going right back to the beginning.
So with that said, thank you. I do want to just have a couple of closing words. So I hate removing you two, but I got a call in about 3
Don't
minutes.
worry. Enjoy.
And I will talk to you soon. Stay
fun.
awesome. Wow. I'm glad I had my tissues here. We went over by about half an hour. This is memorialized now as my celebration of my quest for the West. I want to thank everyone who had an impact on my life in the last 6 to 7 years, that helped guide me, that helped coach me, that helped do the things that I wanted to do. It's why I give back, is because there were beautiful, genuine souls who really did show up for me. So if I can't help everyone, but if you just look at the articles that I've written and all the other pieces that I've put together, it should give you a guidance. Reach out. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay for you to push the limits and ask as many people. I've reached out to executive leaders and organizations who gave me about a 2-minute conversation, and that was it. Right? You're going to have to it'll take a little bit of a risk to ask for help. I can't help everyone, but there are people out there like Shannon, like Rona, and others that will join the right organizations and set your own path. I set my path as a quest for the West, and it was part of a multi-decade effort that I kept finding myself out here in the West Coast in California. I did it. It was not easy. I did it during COVID, even though I planned it the year before. And if this guy can do it, so can you. Any of your goals are accomplishable. So stay strong, stay awesome. And I'm here if you do need help. I may not be able to help everyone, but I will continue to share and post the things that I know will help others. Thank you so much. Stay blessed and have a fantastic week.